As the 2025 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup kicks off in Rabat, it isn't just the start of a youth tournament. It is a milestone for women's football and for Africa's sporting identity. For Morocco, this moment crowns years of deliberate investment in the women's game.
I am indeed excited that Morocco is hosting the Women's World Cup, the U-17 to be precise. I think it is a welcome development. We have paid the price in Africa, especially for women's football. We have done so well, and Morocco have been consistent in making sure that they've been hosting tournaments for women's football. Next year March is going to be the third time in a row that they will be hosting the Women's African Cup of Nations, and I think it was the best thing that FIFA could ever think of by granting them the hosting rights to host the U-17 World Cup.
I believe that this is huge news for women's football, one on the African continent and two globally, because I remember as far back as 2009 when the first U-20 Men's World Cup was hosted in Egypt, and that tournament was capped off with Ghana winning it. I mean, it was huge for everybody on the continent, and so just by knowing that we get to see Nigeria, Zambia, Ivory Coast, Morocco all play in the tournament that will be hosted in Morocco is an amazing story for us, just to put us in a spot of knowing that here in Africa, we will be able to, or we are able to, we can do it as well, and bringing the entire world to see the talent that we are grooming, the talent that we will see on the highest stage in future.
In 2022, Morocco hosted the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, the first North African country ever to do so. The Atlas Lionesses didn't just play, they inspired the nation, defeating regional giants, reaching the final and filling stadiums with record-breaking crowds.
That's the first Women's World Cup at any level in Africa. I think it's an epoch-making, symbolic one. It's also a legacy and forward momentum, not just only for women's football on the continent, but also for gender equality in sport across Africa and also including the Arab world. I think it's a massive opportunity, this happening in Morocco, that this is not just about the host nation, Morocco, but again, also a major new chapter opening for African women's football. And sincerely, no country has fits this opportunity more, this watershed moment than Morocco. You know, they are a rising powerhouse in African women's football and a nation steadily redefining what it means to be purposeful in women's sport. And for me, I think it's a lot to African football.
3 years later, in 2025, Morocco hosted the WAFCON again, a thrilling tournament that ended with a 3-2 loss to Nigeria in the final, but further cemented the country's status as a continental powerhouse in women's football. A year after their first hosting, Morocco made history, debuting at the FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, advancing to the round of 16 and inspiring millions.
And at the end of the day, this will breed in a stronger national team. We know that the Atlas ladies missed the WAFCON by the whiskers the last time, and they also got to the first round, second round of the World Cup that was played in Australia. It's going to be also an avenue for a change of mentality, especially for the parents from the North African countries, to have a change of mind as regards women in football. They are going to see other footballers of the same religion wearing hijab also playing the game. It will go a long way in giving them a kind of orientation that they want.
That transformation is rooted in investment. The Royal Moroccan Football Federation has built leagues, academies and training centers, giving young girls a pathway to professional football.
On many grounds, because looking at the matches that were broadcasted globally, the impact resonates strongly, I think, in the classrooms, in the schoolyards and neighborhoods, not just across Morocco, but across the continent, when thousands of young girls will see players who looks like them, competing at the top level. And, looking at the number of teams involved from Africa, I understand that this is also a multi-year hosting commitment by Morocco. Surely this gives us a massive advantage that yearly, now from Africa, you'll be seeing no fewer than 5 teams, participating in this event. And it's very strategic, and most definitely must thank FIFA for what they've done. This is potentially not just sporting advantage for Africa, but also it's going to be a massive and deeper social change this will really bring to Africa.
The Mohammed V Football Academy now serves as a pipeline of talent for both men's and women's teams, and the results are evident.
There will be increase in tourism revenue for the Kingdom of Morocco. A lot of people will come into that country hoping to see the girls display their potentials, and in coming revenues will go up. We'll talk about hospitality, we'll talk about transportation, we'll talk about communication, and I think it will be a good test, for Morocco as regards hosting the World Cup. And let's also look at the positive effect it will have on the women footballers themselves. It's going to have a good impact, on their league. It will open up the league. We'll have scouting opportunities. A lot of people will come that are into football business. Players will be looked out for. And who is telling us that the people from Morocco, the footballers from Morocco, will not be looked at? An opportunity for them to play abroad.
Now, with 23 teams competing in Rabat and Saleh, the 2025 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup marks a continental first and a signal to the world that Africa can host, organize and celebrate women's football at the highest level. And Morocco's commitment doesn't end here. The country will continue hosting the Under-17 World Cup through 2030, a long-term strategy that may soon lead to something even bigger.
For girls and on the continent, just being able to see their other country mates. So for Nigerians, you have somebody playing in, say, Rivers Angels, Edo Queens, knowing that a colleague of mine was able to make it here and coming back and then giving us all the amazing news and stories about what was learned on the tournament. And then again, the involvement of every other person, because during these tournaments, it's an amazing time for them to network. It's an amazing time for them to learn and see how other people do things from the other sides, because these are very young girls, 17-year-olds. You get some who are 15, some players who are even 14. This time they get to learn and see what other people are doing in their countries that make them the best. And if say in their countries the best practices are not being put in place, they get to learn and then put those things in place and hopefully be able to transition from the U-17s to the U-20s and the top level.
From Rabat to Casablanca, from schoolyards to stadiums, this World Cup is igniting dreams, showing that women's football is not just growing in Africa, it is rising. The 2025 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup is more than a competition, it is a celebration of progress, passion and potential. In Lagos for News Central, Favour Itua.